Hello, one and all. Welcome to another episode of MMA Vision Analysis. This one, I'm here to talk about our middleweight champion UFC, Dricus, and his recent comments in regards to his opponent the night of UFC 305. But before I get started, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that notification to get all of this that is new from this channel, your channel, the one and only MMA Vision Analysis. Dricus, champion of the middleweight division, has had some comments to make in regards to his opponent the night of UFC 305. Before getting into the comments, I want to speak about the middleweight division in general. The middleweight division, one of the wildest divisions in the UFC. I believe it's only second to the heavyweight division. And the reason I make the correlation is that in the middleweight division, there are so many guys that are so equally matched up that you really never know the champion of the division or who the champion of the division will become the end of a said main event whenever that middleweight division, championship is involved. Obviously, anytime a champion is in there defending his title, there's always a chance of losing the title. But we can take an example of Alex Pereira and see how most of his competition is no competition. The guy's clean. He's literally cleaned up the division. Aside from an ankle fight, a fight that could or could not happen, a fight that we might or might not be interested in. I don't know. I want to lean more towards us not being interested in. So what I'm trying to say here is that some divisions in the UFC where the champion is clear ahead of everybody else, and in other divisions like the heavyweight division and the middleweight division in this case, especially this past year, in the middleweight division, it's been very, very, very interesting. Let's say past year and a half, from Pereira to Israel Adesanya to Sean Strickland and now Dricus. I believe that title exchanged hands about 4 times in the last 15 months or so, probably, let's say, about 2 years. Title did change hands 4 times. And I said in the beginning of the year, I said even before Dricus won the title, I said that this title will exchange hands a couple times this year. It's already happened once. I believe it's going to happen again. Dricus, going into Dricus' comments in regards to his opponent the night of UFC 305, Dricus wonders why and how does Israel Adesanya still find the reason to compete after he's seemingly reached the pinnacle. Why does a guy like Israel Adesanya still compete? Well, I can agree with these statements. Why? After a fighter reaches his peak, why do they continue fighting? Well, there's different ways of looking at it and different ways of answering this question. First and foremost, I totally agree with the way that Dricus is looking at the situation of Israel Adesanya. What's the reason that keeps Izzy going? It's a very good question. What is the reason that keeps Israel Adesanya going? Motivation? Is it that he knows he has a lot left in the gas tank? Or is it ego? Because if it is the latter, then, and I hope that's not the case, I hope it's not ego that's driving Adesanya to compete more. Because if it's sheer ego, then your ego can get you in trouble sometimes. Okay? I hope it's not ego. I hope it's rather Adesanya realizing that he's still mid-30s, still has plenty left in the gas tank. He hasn't lost any speed. He's still beating up guys in sparring. He still believes in himself. And as long as a person still believes in themselves and they're in it for the right reason and not so much ego, then the reason are just that. And here I'm talking to the champion of the middleweight division, Dricus. That's the reason. Is the guy's 35 years old, barely, or he's in mid-30s. I don't even think he's 35. I want to say 33, 34, Israel Adesanya. if he's still in the gym beating up guys and he still feels like he has his speed and agility and he's still motivated and hungry, and it's not so much his ego driving him, then the reason is just that. The reason is just that. The reason is because Dricus, quite frankly, Adesanya thinks that he's better than you and he can take that title away from you. I do understand, with all respect to the middleweight champion here, I'm not trying to disrespect anyone here, but Adesanya is somebody that has tremendous self-belief, number one. And number two, he's still relatively young for the world of mixed martial arts. Number three, I would assume that his camp is so measured that if there's something off with Adesanya, they would be probably the first to tell him. I don't think he's going to hear it from a Dricus. If he was missing a step or he's falling behind or he's losing some speed, he's losing agility. I really do believe that he has the kind of camp that will make him aware of such thing before the public does. And also, I can look at what Dricus was talking about. We can take a great example of Khabib Nurmagomedov, retired at the age of 32, absolute pinnacle of his performance. His last performance was just, it was just probably one of the best that he's ever had. The dude kept on getting better, and the last fight that we saw Khabib Nurmagomedov in there, he looked as good as ever. Finished guys and retired at the top. Not everybody's Khabib Nurmagomedov, obviously. I don't think the UFC is okay with making a champion and having them just simply walk away after even defending the title once or twice. I think the UFC wants you to be in there, with all respect to the UFC, but obviously they want you in there as long as you're the big name that brings eyes to the table, and as long as you're exciting and bringing eyes to the table. Like I said, once again, the UFC wants you in there, and they kind of, I mean, it makes sense. You want the champ to lose the title, not to relinquish the title, or because people will always ask, oh, what if Khabib Nurmagomedov faced Conor for the second time? Oh, what if Justin Gaethje gets a second chance against Khabib? What if Khabib was to face... What if? If you leave the game undefeated, there's going to be many what ifs. And like I said, I don't think many organizations would be okay with their champion leaving the organization at the pinnacle. So there is that. He probably has a contract that he has to, rules that he has to abide by, and he has to respect the contract between him and the UFC. I'm not sure how long his contract, how many fights he has left on his contract, but there's certainly that aspect of it, professionalism. And I really think that Adesanya believes that he can recapture that middleweight title. I really do believe so, because I don't take Adesanya as the guy who half does things. No, he's not that kind of guy. If he's in it, he's in it. I think he's the kind of guy that learns from his losses. Just look at the Alex Pereira fight, and you would see what I'm talking about. I believe in Adesanya. I'm super excited for the night of UFC 305, Izzy versus Dricus for that middleweight title. If you made it this far, I appreciate you for sticking around. Please let me know what you think in the comments, and like, subscribe for more.